Hello. So I am super excited today because I'm going to be sharing with you guys my 5 top tips and tricks for Lord's Mobile attacking. So when you're thinking about attacking other castles, if you're thinking about protecting yourself from rallies, if you're thinking about any different tricks that you've seen in KVK videos, I pulled together some of the things that I get most questioned on based on the KVK videos and wanted to put it all together in one concise place so I could kind of walk you guys through how to do it, things to be mindful of, and I really hope that you find this helpful. Okay, so first up is the Relocator Trick, and I get this question all the time. Now, all this footage is pulled from KVK footage of me defending whatever kingdom I'm in at the time. So this is an example of me doing the Relocator Trick one-on-one, which is usually the hardest way because what they are not planning on is on me basically having troops out of my castle. If you have troops that are attacking another castle, you cannot transport, right? So you can't do the Relocator Trick. If somebody plans on sending out a camp, and they've done this to me in the past, they kind of will play cat and mouse. It'll work if I am trying to attack multiple castles at the same time and am extending my troops out. However, in this case, you can see all my troops are in my castle. My enemy is going ahead and sending out a camp. The purpose of that, he is probably trying to keep them away from me. However, what I'm going to do is figure out where is that camp going to land, quickly port there, and then randomly relocate away or port away, and it is going to force your enemy to attack your castle. You can see 120k wounded, 80k dead. Make sure you're unshielded. This is an example of some teamwork. So here I am attacking these invaders. My guildmate clears, pops right in. He figures out where the camp is going to land, and then he is going to port away, and all you see are the enemy troops kind of hitting an empty space, but they're in fact hitting his castle. Rally is walking back. Guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. Really work on your timing. So when a rally is walking away, you are basically guaranteed that there are going to be troops walking back to a castle, and that castle is going to be in fury. So what you want to do is make sure that you're able to capture those troops before they are sheltered. So what I do, this is really hard to do alone, so I needed to prioritize. So I went to the castle that was closest to the rally target, and then I went to the castle that was farthest so that I would be able to hit more than one target. Again, here I am. I'm just waiting for the rally troops to walk back to the castle. A lot of this is timing. You're going to notice that I do send more than one army, and the reason for this is people tend to unshelter to get ready to shelter those troops coming in, and this is a really neat way to be able to get their heroes. Okay, so this is going to be an example of a rally walking back. We have invaders, but I'm not alone. I have clears with me. Much easier. Again, guys, if you have somebody helping you with this stuff, it's much easier. He goes ahead and ports on one side of the group of castles. What I'm going to do is port on the other side, and that way it's easier for us to be able to time the armies walking back. In this case, because this is during KVK, I have T4 troops holding base, holding forts, so I don't have full 6 armies available to me, right? So I wouldn't be able to do this alone. So here, it's a lot easier to time when you're keeping an eye on a few castles, right? And if both you and your guildmate end up hitting the same castle, like, who cares, right? The whole point is for you to be able to get those points and be able to get the invaders out of your kingdom. So here, again, it's all about timing. You're going to wait to make sure that the troops are coming back before you send your army. You should be pretty familiar with how quickly you need to boost. So you can see in some cases, I am pushing my troops with winged boots to be able to capitalize on those troops coming back, because my troops just won't get there fast enough, right? And I usually will try to send 1 to 2 armies, again, because they do tend to unshelter right before their armies are coming back, to be able to reshelter. Quickly, just looking at some of the results. Number 3, never use camps when trying to hide troops, especially when being rallied. Guys, I have seen this firsthand, and it is so painful. Do not panic, and do not keep using camps to hide troops. Don't use it to hide troops in hives. I will always scout camps, and sometimes I find 200,000 troops there, and it's just not a good way to hide your troops, guys. Hide them with your guildmates that are shielded, but do not put them in camps. So if you're being rallied, don't do what I'm showing you here. Do not go ahead and send out, 5 camps. Because what can happen is your enemy can then have 5 castles literally port in each of those spots, port away, and you have in essence zeroed yourself. And I've seen people do this. Send 6 camps, 6 enemy castles just bloop, 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 poured in. They poured away. And all you see is somebody completely zeroing themselves on these castles, right? Because you're immediately going to hit all your hospitals get full. You're going to have a ton of red dead. So you don't want to do that. So please, please, please do not use camps in this way. I know it can be very tempting, and I think a lot of people do it. I will say I'm really surprised with how many people do this, and they do it really often, right? Because it feels almost natural that you're going to try to hide them in these camps, and hopefully they're not watching. But again, if they're rallying you, they can see your location, and they're going to be tracking you. And I've seen people post cords in world chat of camps because they want that person to get zeroed. So please don't do that. However, this is the way that you hide troops. Number 4, how to hide troops during rallies. This is helpful if you are, in the 1.2 million range max in terms of troops, right? So the first thing that you would do is use your shelter. You're going to put your hero there. Super important. Go ahead, shelter your hero. Now you can see we have a capacity of 210,000 troops. What I would recommend is you can go to your guild shop and with guild coins, buy an army size boost. 20%. It's going to help you save 20% more troops. Now, if you're, feeling less spending, you can go ahead and use gems and you can get a 50% boost, right? Purchased. But 20% is kind of the BAU, and you can see it goes from 210K to 252K. So you can go ahead, hide your leader, hide 252,000 troops. And then what are you going to do? Well, you're not going to send camps, right? So at this point, I'm pretty sure I drilled it down into you guys. Please, please, please don't send camps. And I don't expect any of you to send camps. But what you are going to do is you're going to send them to really far off resource tiles, okay? I'm just showing you 2 ways that you can do this. Just scroll through the map like a lunatic. And you're basically going to see something that's maybe like 200 away. You're going to go ahead and send an army there. Throw some heroes in because it helps you increase the amount of troops that you're sending, and you're going to send them walking. This is what you're going to do. This is the point of this. The point is to keep your troops moving. As long as they're walking, they're safe, okay? Once your troops stop walking, that's when you need to worry. So the goal here is, right here, it says they're going to arrive at that tile in 27 minutes. Now, the only reason that we're doing this is because I'm assuming you're in Fury, right? And you don't want to take the rally, and you need to shelter your troops. You need to hide them. And we're basically waiting for Fury to run out. So you're 27 minutes, you're more than good. What you're going to do is you can also use the map and shortcut that, and it'll let you know if the troops you're sending are too far away. So you're going to pick something that feels reasonable. Again, around 200 or more meters is smart. And you're going to, again, send, if you have 5 armies, send all your armies out this way. Have them all walking. Now, let's assume the rally hits in 5 minutes, and you still have 10 minutes worth of Fury to wait out. You can wait out the Fury, and once your Fury is done, go ahead, shield, and then recall all your troops. So your troops never end up landing anywhere. You don't want them to actually go and sit on the tile, which is why we're looking for tiles that are far away. So then you just quickly would recall all your armies. You're already shielded. You're all good. That's it. Their rally failed. They can't zero you. So that's what you want to do, guys. And this, definitely try this out. Like, it costs nothing to prepare yourself, right? So when I was in I would say 1 million to 1.3 million troops, I would test this out just to see what my capacity was. Like, depending on the heroes that you have and the composition, how many troops can you effectively hide? So just run this exercise and get to know what that number is. And then if you have, let's say, 50,000 troops left over, it's kind of a bummer, but your hospitals should be able to cover that. So you want to make sure that even if you can't have all your troops walking and sheltered, that the troops that are left in your castle can be handled by your hospital. It gives you a really good buffer. And this is a really, really, really safe way to be to basically be very careful, right, when you're being rallied. Now, if you have 3 million troops, 4 million troops, sorry, this is not going to help. I recommend getting reinforced. I recommend figuring something else out. I'm in that space right now where for the most part, you're going to end up eating rallies, right? So be mindful of that. Once you're hitting that threshold of, I can no longer hide my troops, make sure that it's like a big troop push, right? The last one that I want to talk to you guys about is raiding hives. Guys, I started raiding hives when I was around 20 million might in my first kingdom, in K38, back when I first started in August, September. So there's a few things that you're going to look at. So right now I am looking at Kingdom 67. There is a hive here, a very good hive. So props to you guys. This is the FR Hive. They stand for fake reality. So what's up, guys? The first thing I do when I'm going to raid a hive is I'm going to search the might. I'm going to sort by might and take a look at who the strongest guy is, because theoretically that's the guy that would probably be the rally leader, right? So you want to have an idea of what that rally leader looks like. So if this guy were a billion might, I probably would think twice, because I'm probably going to get rallied. So you want to make sure that that top might is something that you feel you can handle. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to look for holes, right? So these guys, the reason why I'm giving them props is this is a big hive and it is a tight hive. There are no openings here, right? They do, however, have camps. So they're pretty meticulous with filling holes with camps when people port away. So what I would do is port to the side and then get rid of the camp. So this is a lot easier if you're doing this with other people. When I am telling you that I raided early on playing this game when I was around 20 mil, I would do it with a lot of people. There would be like 6 of us. They'd be like, we're going to raid this hive, and we would port at all angles and we would clear camps and we would then report inside those holes. The reason that you want to port into those holes is pretty simple. You don't ever want to have your leader overextended outside of your castle and be hanging out on the side of a hive, right? And this is super, super important, guys, if you're under, I would say, 100 million might, right? Because you're not going to have enough troops to handle, let's say, a 500 million guy sending you 3 or 4 solid waves of T4 if you do not have your leader in your castle. And the reason that I'm giving you that example is because it happened to me. I was around 70 million might. I think I had about 1.2 million troops. I was burning a hive solo. This was in case 16. And as I am overextending with my hero, totally my bad, overextending with my hero, this guy who at the time was like 700 million might ports next to me and sends me a wave of like 3 or 4 T4 armies. I win the first one, but it was in such rapid succession that I wasn't able to bring my leader back before he had already killed 700,000 of my troops. So the only ones that survived were the ones that were in my hospitals and my leader army that was coming back, so I was quickly able to port away. But I would say please learn from my mistakes. That was a really painful episode. And it was one of those things where I overextended with my leader, right? So after that happened, I know why people tend to ask others to clear camp, because they want to be nestled inside the hive, because it's a lot harder for somebody that you don't expect to port next to you. That's really what you're trying to avoid here. Here I am in Kingdom 5. And scrolling around, just showing you guys like different ways that people create hives. Hiving around the base is pretty common. My guild right now, BRR, we do that. And I would say you're going to usually find some of the stronger guilds doing that, right? The ones that are typically going to go for base. And the rules are the same. So you want to make sure that you're finding a hole. You have to be careful if you're by the Wonder, because that's always a place that the big guys can kind of port in and try to attack you. And again, check the might of the guilds. Make sure that you understand who is around you, who are you burning, what is the likelihood of being rallied. You want to clear camps. Like for example, there's one camp. However, if I were to clear that camp, I have the entire Wonder Forest behind me that they could port in, right? So got to be careful with that stuff, guys. It can be really fun to raid, especially if you're doing it as a guild. It's part of the game, right? It's a war game. So I really hope that all these tips and tricks have helped you. If you do have any questions, I would love to do another video like this with additional material. So if you have any suggestions, any feedback, definitely let me know in the comments below. Please feel free to, again, ask questions or give me your tips and tricks. Would love to hear that, because if I feature it in the next video, I will totally give you a shout out. So sorry, I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to give everyone shout outs equally, and I'm struggling with that because I get asked for shout outs quite a bit, but I will come up with something. All right. Hope this was interesting. I hope you learned something. If you didn't, maybe it reinforced something, but this probably will be most helpful for a lot of you guys that are starting to increase your troop might. You might be in some of the newer kingdoms, or it might be a refresher for you if you haven't had to do some of this stuff in a while. Thank you so much for watching.